Hello everyone. It is 5:28 and we'll be going live in a couple of minutes. I am broadcasting to you today, still from Colorado, but indoors, as some thunderstorms are rolling through. Um, I must say I kind of miss coming to you live from outdoors. There's something so relaxing about the sound of the leaves and hearing the birds and ducking the bees. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me today. And we've got about another minute and a half. Hi, Jill. It's so nice of you to join me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we've got about another minute before I actually start the meditation. And in the meantime, I encourage you to find a comfortable place to sit. Ideally sitting. Laying down is always acceptable, but then we run the risk of falling asleep and missing out on the whole meditation. So if you can, find yourself a nice seat. If you've got a candle nearby that you can light, or perhaps some crystals that you can surround yourself with, that's always a nice way of creating a sanctuary, a special place to meditate, to get connected to oneself. So yeah, we've just got a little bit left to go before we start the meditation, and I hope you are doing well. Yeah, so get yourself settled. There we go. So it's 5:30 and we'll begin the meditation now. And I just wanted to bring up why we meditate. You know, some people think we meditate to empty the mind, we meditate to relax. These are all valid reasons for meditating, but more importantly is that we are attempting to reduce the amount of suffering in our lives. And, you know, the Buddha says that suffering is inevitable, but pain is optional. And so what we're attempting to do is to just lower the volume on the amount of suffering that we as humans tend to have to deal with. And it happens, the reduction of suffering happens when we develop a new relationship to the workings of the mind, right? So how we perceive our thoughts, what happens when we have emotions, are we getting caught up in the dramas of these thoughts and these feelings? Are we creating narratives? Are we fantasizing? You know, that's where the suffering happens. And so today, in an attempt to, again, lower the volume on the suffering that we experience, I want to talk about the two choices we have when we're in a situation when there's stimulus. We can either react or we can respond to a situation. And so reaction is that knee-jerk experience. It's fear-based. It's going in defense. It's, you know, we've all been in a position where we've encountered somebody who knows just how to press our buttons. And it's so hard to not get caught up in a reaction, in a knee-jerk experience. So that's one option. And then the other option we have is to respond. To respond. And to respond comes from a more loving place, a place of compassion. And it's born out of a pause. Right? So we might have a reaction immediately to a specific circumstance, but if we take a moment and take a breath and just pause, we can turn that into a more helpful response, something that will de-escalate the situation and cause less suffering. Right? And so that's what I'd like to focus on in today's meditation, is response versus reaction. And the way we do that is to focus on the pause in the breath. So I'll go over that with you in a little bit more detail. But first, I invite you to get comfortable, close your eyes. And if that's not comfortable, you can look downwards with kind of sleepy lids. And become aware of your body in space. Notice the parts of your body that are touching your chair, the floor. Perhaps feel your back being supported by the back of the chair or the wall. And really allow yourself to feel grounded, to feel stable. And in that grounding and stability, there's a sense of safety, right? A strength, a knowingness that whatever comes up, we can handle. Right? So begin to focus on your breath, your inhale and your exhale. These parts of the breath are with us 24/7. The breath does what it does without us even telling it what to do. So allow for that inhale, allow for the exhale. Let the tension in your muscles get out of the way of the breath fully inflating and deflating the lungs. And with this allowing, you can develop a little bit more of an intimate relationship with the breath, noticing that there's really more than just two parts to the breath. There's actually four parts. Right? So there's an inhale, a pause at the top of the inhale, and then an exhale, and a pause at the bottom of the exhale. Right? So just notice that. It's very subtle. It's just a momentary suspension of the breath. But as the inhale turns around and becomes the exhale, and as the exhale becomes the rising of the next inhale, there's a pause. A very subtle pause. And my next invitation to you is to lengthen that pause. So perhaps holding the pause for 1 or 2 seconds. Having nice full inhale, nothing strained or forced. Holding at the top of that inhale for 1 to 2 seconds. And then nice long smooth exhale. Again, nothing forced. And then holding again for another 1 or 2 seconds. Notice in those pauses, notice the silence, notice the stillness. The breath in and of itself is a refuge. But these pauses help us to find refuge from our habitual reactions. And the more we become aware of the pauses in our breath, the more we'll be able to tap into that resource when we're confronted with a sticky situation, with a stimulus that we find agitating. The inhale and exhale will anchor us in the present moment. The pause will give us that refuge. Inhaling, pause. Exhaling, pause. Taking refuge in the pause. Cultivating healthy responses. One breath at a time. One pause at a time. We strengthen the muscle of responding. Coming from a place that is more compassionate towards oneself as well as others, embedding a sense of kindness. The thought becomes the word. The word manifests the deed. The deed develops into the habit. The habit hardens into character. And character gives birth to destiny. So watch your thoughts and actions with care, and let them spring from love, born out of respect for all beings. So our meditation for today has come to an end. I invite you to sit longer and get acquainted with that pause and cultivate responses as opposed to reactions. Thank you so much, Jill and Cynthia, for joining me live. And thank you for the rest of you who will be joining me later on. I hope you find this meditation helpful. Have a wonderful day.